Hi, and welcome to the Wake.Show. I am Chris Fisher. Oh, and we are live on my personal Facebook page today. How's everybody doing? How are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing good. How are you?
This is well. Thanks for asking. Sam's over my shoulder. Chris McCarty here today. Matt Dom from Masteries Brewing Company, Blind Pass St. Pete Beach, and Beer Week kicks off tomorrow. So I'm very excited. Matt knows his beers. And I guess he's also a big fan of the Girl Scout cookie. Who isn't? So we are going to pair beers with Girl Scout cookies today. It is appropriate. Don't judge me. All right, so we're doing something a little bit different this morning, and that is we are going live on my personal page. Now, we started a new show. It's called the Wake.Show. And as you can see up there in the corner right there, it's called the Wake.Show. We've been doing it for a few months now. I started it with Johnny Torres, and who I couldn't have got the show off the ground without him. But we've reached a point where we're liking what we're doing, and we're ready to take it to the next level and get people involved, build our community, and see what the Wake.Show can become. So if you could, go to the Wake.Show. It's facebook.com/the Wake.Show. Let me put up my little crawl there. I think it might help. And not only like the page, but follow the page. Because the way that Facebook is doing their algorithms these days, if you just like the page, which is awesome, which is great, but you will never know when we go live or, what's going, when we're posting stuff and stuff, whatever. But if you follow us, then you'll get those indicators that we're on doing our thing. And not only that, but I really appreciate the feedback. We're starting with my personal page because... well, I mean, you guys are friends and family, and then some of you are friends that I really don't know, but have come along. We've crossed paths along the way, and so your input will help out a lot, be significant. So and if you're joining us for the first time, if you're watching for the very first time, what do we do around here? What's up with this show? Well, we talk about the news of the day. And this is something that I started with Kurt Schreiner back when he and I were doing mornings together. And so the goal of the show is to make it through the events of the day without getting too worked up, without getting angry or depressed. It is not an easy task. And we'll start the show every day right around. I don't know. We're going to get better about that. A set time for like 11. I want to do 11:11. Is that stupid? Is that just quirky and it doesn't need to be quirky? Or would it help us stand out if we started the show at 11:11? Yesterday I finally got a chance to get down to Al Capote's Dry Cleaners. And for those of you that have been watching the show since its inception, David, the owner, has come by the show before. Was a big fan back when we were doing the show at 8 o'clock in the morning. Was it 8 or 7? I don't remember. Whatever it was. 8 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning? 6? No. We weren't coming on that early. It was early. Whatever it was early. And I kept saying, man, I got to... I got to get down there and support him. He's supporting us. I got to support him. His Dry Cleaners is right up the way, and I've got some shirts that need to be cleaned. So I finally stopped in there yesterday, and it was good to meet David. Dropped off some shirts, and then I told him I'd come back by today to drop off money to get laundered. Did you know that's what that means? Like money laundering is cleaning money. It's dirty money. And
yeah.
When did you figure that out? How old were you when you figured that out?
Because
I was 45 when it finally dawned on me that that's what money laundering meant, cleaning money.
I literally learned that. It's funny you say that last week because there's a conspiracy theory about Mattress Firm that if you look at how many mattress firms are in, listen, hear me out. This is crazy.
I'm listening.
Okay. So if you go on Google Maps, even in this area, you'll notice that there's an absurd amount of mattress firms in every area all together on one road. Oh. And you never see anyone in them. So people think that they're laundering money through mattress firms.
Okay, so
yeah. They are.
All right, I got you on over there. What are you saying?
This is alleged.
Since you just,
this is alleged.
I was saying that we're all marked now. That you just
I know.
Let everybody know that we're on.
This is a pretty popular one though.
Business Insider, January 23rd, 2018. BusinessInsider.com. A wildly popular conspiracy theory about why there are so many mattress stores is starting to sound less crazy, is the article coming from Business Insider.
That's crazy, because now when she said that about not seeing people, I'm like, yeah, I don't really see it.
Go on. I will show you how many mattress firms are in this area.
All right, let's see. I'm going to keep that one on you. This one will go to Chris. In the meantime, there we go. Pop. There you go. How you doing, buddy?
Well, how are you?
There you go.
Wait,
hey,
well,
go
how
ahead,
are you?
turn that light on next to you, too, and put it in your face so you're blinded.
Blinded.
There we go.
By the
There we go.
light.
So here
That's
it is.
insane.
So here it is.
Dude, give that to Chris. They got to see this. That's
There is,
insane.
and there's like 5.
There's more
and 2
mattress,
on the side.
more
Look
than
at all that.
McDonald's, man. There's more mattress firms
So-
than McDonald's.
By the way, what I'm getting ready to show you is not her pulling something up from the article. You just clicked
This
mattress.
is just in our area right now, in this area, and those are little bubbles that say like 5 more and like 2 more plus those bubbles. So like that's a lot of mattress firms.
Oh, I see right there, like the one that says 3. There's 3 right there on top of each other.
Right.
Well, I mean,
What is in
I
them?
can imagine that.
How
The
many
mattress
people buying
industry-
mattresses, man?
Yeah.
Like, bro, you got to keep eating all the time and buy one mattress. I'm good. I own the same mattress for 2 years. Why do you need that many mattress firms?
So
She's got a point.
Mattress
I like
Firm is the largest specialty mattress retailer in the U.S. Some argue that the company has too many stores, sometimes in high concentrations. A comment on Reddit that suggested that Mattress Firm was laundering money went viral on Tuesday, but has since been removed.
Oh, no.
Mattress Firm's parent company recently disclosed accounting irregularities, according to Reuters.
Interesting.
You know, remember the guy who got shot because he was showing everybody, this is the drug dealer over there. He just got us. He's going to come up here and get us.
Did you see that one
These are
yesterday, Sam?
mattresses. It's fine.
Did you get? Did we get to that one yesterday? The guy that got shot while he was
Did you
Facebooking
see
live,
that one?
Did we? I don't think so.
That was 2 days ago.
or a couple
Yeah, that
days
was a
ago?
couple days
Or
ago.
Wednesday.
I
Yeah.
wasn't in the room if you did.
Yeah, he was going around town just doing his Facebook Live, and then as he'd be like, "Oh, by the way, that's I guess he wasn't just outing them. He was like going
was
around
just-
town.
Yeah, that's a
Hi,
little
this is-
different.
Having a good day.
That's a little
like,
different.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, like-
man, over there, that's my man.
Like this is a great. If you want great ice cream, this is great ice cream, and right over here, that's a drug dealer. You know, and so
Yeah.
I guess he had done it enough times with the drug dealers in the area weren't going to have any more of it.
Yeah,
And
but
so-
that's drugs. This is just like some conspiracy theory.
Oh yeah, well, I know.
I don't know. But there's
All right,
a lot
good.
more mattress firms than that one dude who got popped talking about that I didn't know about.
Starting off Thursday with a little controversy or a little conspiracy theory. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and hit some or let you know what we're going to be tackling in Stuff You Should Know today. I don't know how many of you watched whatever that thing was yesterday, that meeting, that round table. Matt, did you catch any of that, by the way, with Donald Trump and all the just some clips?
Caught the modified clips.
The modified clips, okay. So we'll come back to that here in a little bit because a lot of people are like, "Oh, wow, he was saying such Republican things, and so there's going to be real gun reform or whatever, that kind of stuff." I'm like, settle down, people. Let's not forget it's Donald Trump, and he says a lot of things, and not only that, but I do have a theory on why it was that he, because people thought it was a little off, it was a little weird the way it all went down. So I've got a theory about that. Where are the puppies? Oh, honey, the puppies are around. They're over on the couch with Chris. Don't you worry. Both of them are here. But don't turn on the Roomba. Make sure that Roomba stays in her charge bin because I forgot to pick up the puppy pads, and you know what's going to happen. So, I can't use the show for a little point-to-point communication with my wife. Also, AR-15 wedding vows. Can't wait to get to this. A couple renews their wedding vows, and she has an AR-15 strapped to her. Oldest tattoo found. This is really, really cool, and not just because this pushes back the oldest tattoo found by 1,000 years. And the cool thing about it is it's not just geometric shapes, which is what we had found before. Just little patterns. It is an actual art design that is 5,000 years old. We'll come back to that story. This is a weird one. The next one you see on the list here, the father-daughter incest charge thing. Maybe we'll talk about that right now and then just get it out of the way because I don't. Well, there's the reason. I don't want to talk about it because of the salacious nature of it. It is, it's because they were both charged.
How do you charge the daughter? How does
She's
that
an
happen?
adult.
She was 19.
She's 19, right? So
you got to know this was happening before when she was a little kid, when she wasn't
Well, that's the thing is it makes
Because think about it. If she was an adult and it started, you can't charge them for that. Yet, if they're a kid, I mean, that's just, ooh. It's just,
all right.
ooh.
So that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up because I was really shocked. I was really surprised that there's such a thing. Where did it go? I want to make sure that I didn't put my stories in order. On my here it is. So I'm going to show you guys the picture. Ready? This is
Can't even do it. I can't even look at him. That's crazy.
Father-daughter, Panama City, Florida.
No! Don't you know that my kid's mother is from there? No! No wonder we didn't work out. I'm sorry.
Father-daughter were arrested on Tuesday in Panama City, charged with incest. You know how they found out? How we found out? They were doing it outside in the backyard.
That means that's been going on so long.
I don't know which
that
face
you were
to
like that comfortable, like, yeah.
I didn't know which shocked face to cut to, hers or yours.
I'm like disturbed. I'm not even shocked. I'm just
sick,
deeply
man.
disturbed.
Sick, man.
Panama City police arrested 39-year-old Justin Bunn, 19-year-old Taylor Bunn, just before 11 a.m. So it wasn't even like it was a Friday night at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was 11 a.m. They admitted to having consensual sex. Both were arrested and charged with incest. Justin's bond was set at $5,000, Taylor at $1,000. During a court appearance, a judge ordered the father and daughter may not have any contact with each other. So there's that story. Okay, we got it out of the way. We don't even have to come back to it.
God.
Remind me to get the playlist for the day before I do any sharing.
So Matt, what Matt's talking about? Oh yeah, I know you couldn't hear him, but Matt Dom is going to be on the show here in just a little bit. We need to get you a mic. We need to get you seated here in a second. But we're like, hey, well, before you come on, go ahead and share. Because it helps us. Why don't you go ahead and share on your page that you're going to be on and just share the live stream? He goes, well, remind me to make sure that I get the rundown first of what you guys are putting on there. That's a good point. Maybe father-daughter incest charge is one of those things that I don't put in the
stuff you should know.
Right there in stuff you should know. I don't know if people are. I'm assuming most people we watch
should people really know that?
No, you're right. It's not really stuff.
I'm okay not knowing that. I feel a little different knowing that.
Well,
I would not know that.
Doesn't it kind of shock you that she would be the child will be charged too? Does that shock you at all?
Well, I mean, breaking the law is breaking the law, so you can't call it.
Does it shock you?
Does it shock me that she was? No, I think they both were in the wrong here. I mean.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. The law agrees. The law agrees with you, Matt. All right. So next, we'll move on from that one. Also on stuff you should know.
I mean, have you seen Shameless? I mean,
I saw the first episode of Shameless. It gave me too much anxiety.
See, that's my point. And this shocks you? I mean, come on.
Touche.
Everyone is really concerned about this mattress firm thing, and now I'm concerned.
Wait. You're talking about the people on
all
my...
the people on your Facebook. Listen,
so you're saying maybe people really are hiding their money in their mattress?
All I'm saying is that this was something that Business Insider wrote about, so I'm not the only one who's heard of this. It is not my conspiracy.
I know.
Don't come for me.
Oh, by the way,
you're on their no-fly list now. You get that.
Oh my God, I can't buy a mattress.
Elliot posed a question: should incest be illegal between adults, consenting adults? Now, we're not. I don't think any of us in here are going to argue the morality of it. But if this is America, you're two consenting adults. If you're both that effed up, then welcome to America.
Look, man. Well, then the next question is going to be: is it cool?
Grab that mic.
Is it okay to start messing with animals?
Get close.
Gonna be the next step.
No, because animals can't consent. That's not. You can't go right to the animal card on that one.
That's the next step.
That's not
What's
the.
after that?
Well, you're right. The next step.
I think we're getting way too deep into this conversation.
I just talking about girls got cookies and beer.
All right, well, let's get to speaking of your pets. How about cloning your dog? Would you, if you could? $50,000. And it's a story about the reason that it caught my attention because again, you're going, is this really something you should know? Well, yeah, I think it is. If you've got a 50 extra K, you would do it. If you're a crazy dog lover like I am, but the story was about started off with Barbara Streisand. But what interested me is, I don't care that she cloned her dog. I wanted to know if it had the same like personality traits, as the dog before, and this and this and this. So we do have some of those details, and we will come back to that and stuff you should know today. Non-smokers want a vacation. Is a story we're going to come back to, because here's the argument. Smokers, they'll take multiple breaks a day, go downstairs, 5-10 minutes later, they're back up. You add those up, and the non-smokers are saying, hey, how about you give us an extra day or two or, whatever, of vacation every single year? What are your thoughts on that? And lastly, a teacher with a gun. Of course, there'd be a story like this right after we're talking about teachers with guns. Well, there was a teacher with a gun in this story, and he barricaded himself in the classroom. So if we're going to go down that path, we still have to keep mental health, that subject, that topic, that issue on the table.
Mental health. Can we please get the picture of them off the screen?
Geez. Thank you. All right. Yeah. There had to be something else I could have put up besides those two.
That was Matt's car, by the way.
Of course.
That was Matt.
Let's see. We'll put up the prep sheet for today. There we go. That'll be our perfect segue. And that is stuff you should know that we'll be coming back to here shortly. But I'd like to bring in my guest today. Well, see, I don't even know, Chris, do I even call you a guest anymore? Are you a part of the show?
Part of the show.
Part of the show. All right. So we'll bring in our guest today, and this is Matt Dom, the owner of Masteries Brewing Company, St. Pete Beach. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
Good, man. How are you doing today?
I'm swell. Thanks for asking. I'm very exciting.
Look, I feel safe that I can go ahead and share the live feed now.
Yes, yeah, you can share the life. I've pulled down the stuff you should know. Matter of fact, here's what I'll do, because I'll, if I come back to this later, stuff you should know. I think we already talked enough about the father-daughter thing. I don't think there's anything else, so I'll take it so it will not show up.
I pulled it from the description as well.
All right, lesson learned. Lesson learned. Well, you throw stuff up against the table. You throw incest up against the table. Don't want to talk about it? I understand. We can move on to something else. So let's move on to a very exciting time here in the Bay Area. Or is this nationwide? Beer Week?
Well, no. So this is Tampa Bay Beer Week, and this is something that we put on here in Florida. Now, other states do their own beer weeks, so you can always go ahead and go to the interweb, check out some Google, and figure out what states maybe you're visiting, what time of year that they do a beer week, because any of your big beer towns generally do have something like this going on. But it's not Tampa Bay Beer Week. Tampa Bay Beer Week is actually becoming like the mecca home and focus for just straight awesome 10 days of beer in the nation.
How do you guys coordinate? Because on one hand, it's really cool, the community that you guys have in the craft beer world, but there is also competition as well. You guys are also each other's competitors. So how does that work, that you all come together to support craft beer?
Well, I mean, as a craft beer community, we are one craft beer community. So we do have guilds, memberships, different things that we're all a part of. Now, Tampa Bay Beer Week is actually put on by an organization called Tampa Bay Beer Week. They do have their own little governing body. They've got, a director, a treasurer, everybody that gets together to help organize and put this together. Tampa Bay Beer Week, though, is a mix of many different organizations that are solely focused on craft beer here for the Tampa Bay area.
And so does this kick off with this 9th annual Brews Ball after party? Or
so
is it just one of the events?
That is one of the events.
Okay.
So the first event that's going to be kicking off here for Tampa Bay Beer Week Friday night is called the Ultimate Brewer.
All right.
The Ultimate Brewer is actually an Iron Chef competition amongst breweries. So we literally get to handpick ingredients out of a hat, and there's some funky ingredients in there. Different spices. Last year, and I can go ahead and talk about this now because this ingredient's no longer allowed, was pickles. And the year before, it was still wasn't for 2 years in a row, and that was actually amazingly the beer that won 2 years in a row. I believe it was 2 years in a row, but Brew Bus is actually the brewery that's won the last 2 years in a row. So hence this year we're actually going to be hosting the Ultimate Brewer competition at Brew Bus.
So you guys, nobody knows the ingredients yet. It'll be presented.
Well, no, so we all handpicked our ingredients back in January. Again, it takes a month to make a beer.
That was my question.
It takes at least a month to make a beer. So we've all been sitting on our secret ingredients for a little over 2 months now, preparing to battle down with our beers. And the way it works is there's actually a brewer's vote, and then there's a vote for all the participants. For all the people who come in and get go ahead and try the beer. So there's a crowd vote and a brewer's vote. So yeah, it's going to be pretty intense. The first year we did, I want to say there was like 14, 15 breweries that partook in it, and then last year we did it, and there was close to 20, and then this year I think we've got 25, 26 different breweries partaking, and yeah, there's definitely going to be some interesting things, and obviously it's so open to how you judge it. I mean, you know, like the pickle beer. If you absolutely hate pickles, do you vote that one in or do you not? You go, oh, it tastes just like pickles. Yeah, that really is a pickle beer. Okay, they did a good job, whatever.
Right.
Or do you go, you know, like, oh, solely,
so
it's so subjective.
Right. So even if you didn't like it, you respect that they nailed whatever it was.
Exactly. So, and that's why, so the first year we did it, we actually only did a crowd vote. And I believe that's the reason why they went ahead and threw in a brewer's vote to give more of a professional opinion rather than just, you know, a consumer's opinion on it.
I'm sorry for laughing. I just look at the comments section, and you know, we were talking about Mattress Firm earlier and the possible money laundering. Kane says, "Well, if you come to work tomorrow morning and there are a few mattresses at your door, be afraid."
I think if you go home and you find them lined up in your bedroom, be afraid.
So, what do you guys got going on at Masteries during this week?
So this week, well, tonight we have trivia with you. Yay, trivia.
Come on out and
nothing like, you know, trivia and a little bit of libations to help inspire those brainwaves.
Didn't you say something? Aren't the Girl Scouts going to be there tonight?
We
too?
are.
Hawking their
I was
stuff?
just getting ready to pair that in there.
There you go.
So coming at 5:30, we actually have a Girl Scout troop coming in to bring you some of your favorite Girl Scout cookies to go ahead and have fun and get to munch on them while playing some trivia. Pair them along with your favorite beers. And
what are you shaking your head at, Sam?
I love Girl Scout cookies. I just finished.
She's like, what time? What's the address?
Yeah.
Chris, yeah. Chris, can we carpool?
Right. I love beer and I love Girl Scout cookies.
Which we did go ahead and bring some beer and Girl Scout cookies in. So, you know, we're going to hop to that in a minute. But so, again, I just want to give everybody a quick rundown of what's going on with Tampa Bay Beer Week, not only with Masteries, but with the Tampa Bay area and some of your big things going on. So, like I said, kicks off with the Ultimate Brewer Friday. Saturday is the FBG, that's the Florida Brewers Guild Festival. That is actually going to be held over right behind Amalie Arena, right next to the Marriott Waterside in that park.
Okay.
And so the FBG, the Florida Brewers Guild, that's our governing body organization that we all, not really governing, but that's our organization that we all pay into to be a part of, that spends a lot of time up in Tallahassee, you know, working with our lobbyists, working on state and House bills to really help give us a very strong political footprint. That way we make sure our overall professional objectives are being met, not just, you know, these giant corporations. So Florida Brewers Guild, definitely have to come out to that. There are going to be a ton of breweries out there. I mean, I'd like to say, you know, 50, 60, but there's over 120 in the state of Florida.
Wow.
So that many could potentially be there. So it's a big, huge, great day. Now that's going to be followed up by Sunday, which is Brewers Ball. Now Brewers Ball is actually put on by Best Florida Beer. Best Florida Beer is our competition that we get to partake in every single year. And we get to put in up to 8 beers and get judged on, and that's where we get to medal and really kind of throw down, get a little bit of, that's really where our competition is in the local area, where we get to have fun with other breweries, is showcase our beers against other breweries' beers and have a judge of panels to go, okay, this year, whose beer was best for this style? This year we had over 800 beers entered into this competition.
And I'm sitting at TampaBayBeerWeek.com here and you click on the events and it pulls up this calendar that you guys see. You have 8 events one day, 8 events, 7 events, 11 events, 15 events, 16 events, 21 events, all on the same. How long is this? What year is this?
What year?
Yeah, how long has this been going on?
I think this has been going on since it was pretty much just like Saint Somewhere, Cigar City, and Dunedin Brewery. I mean, back in the day when there was only like 20 breweries in the state of Florida, they started kicking off a mini Tampa Bay Beer Week, and it's just been exponentially growing.
And I see on the 6th here is when you guys pop. I see you at the top of that tab there, March. What happens when you put together 2 head brewers, Jay Jones?
Yep, so we've got Jay Jones from 81 Bay Brewing Company and our head brewer, Michael McElvey, that both graduated from the USF St. Pete Brewing Arts Program in the first inaugural I guess first you can use first and inaugural at the same sentence, right?
Wow.
Graduating the first USF St. Pete Brewing Arts class, and as far as we know, this is also the first release of a collaboration beer amongst USF Brewing Arts alumni.
Oh, right on.
So we will have the USF Brewing Arts program people will be coming out to the brewery that Tuesday as well. We'll be releasing the beer. 81 Bay and Masteries will be on site putting this beer out there. It is a awesome beer, I actually have to say.
And now, these events, are these all pay events? Or is there a mix of pay events and free events?
All the above.
Okay.
So any of the big festivals, there's a entrance fee. Generally, when you find them being hosted at a brewery, sometimes they're tap takeover events, sometimes they're at restaurants, bars, whatever. Usually those are a la carte. You're basically just paying your beers.
All right. And what about you guys? The events you'll be doing?
So all the ones that I just listed are outside events that we're going to be participating. If you go to the Masteries Facebook page, you'll actually see we just posted up a lineup. This afternoon you're going to see a lineup of all the different beer releases that we're going to be doing. So we actually have 4 different new beers that we have partnered with other breweries for collaborations that we're going to be releasing.
Oh, wow.
So tomorrow we start out with a awesome farmhouse saison that we did with Saint Somewhere Brewing and Bob over there. Bob Sylvester is just, he's an awesome brewer. He really is like, the grandfather in this area of like of brewers. He's been around for so long and really been pushing it in the brewing area long before us even thought about it. But anyway, so it was really cool to do a beer with him. It's a sea grape farmhouse saison. First beer also that we really know of that somebody has commercially done a sea grape beer.
Sounds good.
Oh, it's fantastic. We're gonna have the 81 Bay collaboration beer release. We did a beer also with 610 Brewery, and that's going to be released. And then I know I am forgetting one here.
Well, I've got the calendar pulled up. You let me know.
Well, that's the Tampa Bay Beer Week calendar. So the other release... we're going to be releasing our Ultimate Brewer beer. So that's the 4th new beer. So that's not a collaboration beer. But the ones that I can't tell you about that's going to be in competition tomorrow, you can come out on Saturday, and we're going to have that on tap.
Okay.
And then
you can't tell us anything about the beer.
Can't tell you anything about it because it's supposed to be non-favoritism. Like whoever your favorite brewery is, we don't want you to just come in and vote for your favorite brewery. It's not about the brewery. It's about the beer. And that's, so it's a lot of fun. I'm telling you.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. So I think we should go ahead and let's break out these Girl Scout cookies and beer.
I'm going to.
And while they're doing that, I want to say welcome to the Wake.Show again. See, look, our numbers are already,
They've been really good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Eric will be talking to you in about 15 minutes if you are still available. And so we started this show back in November with Johnny Torres and been tinkering with it, adding layers to it, taking stuff away, designing and redesigning the studio. And we are at that point where we're ready to basically have a full launch, a grand opening, a grand launch. And we just have, I think, 1 or 2 more things behind the scenes that we got to shore up, which we'll do here in the next few days. But we wanted to start here on my personal Facebook page, because if I can't get you guys to like the damn show, then I can't get anybody to like the show. If I can't get my own friends and family to tune in and give it a shot, then I can't get anybody to tune in. So one of the things that really will help us out is not just liking the page, the Wake.Show, but as it's facebook.com/thewake.show, and you'll put the little period in there, the Wake.Show. But hit follow, and that way you'll get a notification every time that we go live, and stuff like that, and that helps out a lot. So we'll get the stuff you should know here in just a few. Like I said, coming up at noon, we'll talk a little nutrition with Eric J. Stratman of the TNL Nutrition Coaching, coming up here in just a few. But Matt, let's get the cameras back over here. Okay, well, I guess we got. Will this camera get it done? Almost get it done. Let me reset this one. Excuse me. I love you, Matt. You're so awesome.
Perfect.
Everybody loves the beer guy.
Good point. Good point.
The legal drug dealer.
Like you think you're the first person that's told me, the first man that's told me he loved me. So this was what's so awesome. I think it was Monday that Matt texted me. He's like, "Hey man, how about I come by to this week? We've got Girl Scout cookies that will be sold out there." I'm like, "That's really cool." And he goes, "I can bring some by and we can find beers to pair with them." I go, "You're a genius. Let's do it." An absolute genius.
I think the last time I was here, you told me like anytime you bring food and beer, you can always show up.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. We got a couple of open door policies. Chris has an open door policy. Cam Parker, an artist, has an. You can just pop in anytime and bring in his positive energy. And you too, open door policy with you as well.
Until that one day I show up with no beer.
Water. Wow, what is this?
This door's not opening today. What's going on? All right. So how do you pair beers with Girl Scout cookies?
Well, pairing beer is very much like pairing anything else. You know, you look for either complementary or even, a contrast of flavors to help really bring out what you're trying to achieve. So, I mean, I know a lot of people out there have done wine pairings. They've done even spirit pairings, certain cocktails that you want to mix, with a certain dinner or dessert. Beer's really done in the same way. And the cool thing about beer, in my opinion, is it's just beer styles are so dynamic, and then there's so many different varietals of beer styles that really you've got the perfect palette to play with to find the right beer for the right pairing.
And by the way, Chords, if you're looking for a moment to boost a post, I think this is probably now. This is the time where you boost the show, as we are pairing beer with Girl Scout cookies.
You gotta really break this down, the importance of what's happening, people. When you were talking about the baddest. The baddest legal drug dealers on the planet are Girl Scouts, people. I'm trying to tell you, they come in and leave, and when they come back, but listen, you guys put them together, you and the Girl Scouts, stop. Boost it.
All right. So there we go. All right, we got a little something there too. What do we have first, Matt?
So last time when I came out, I brought you our bourbon barrel aged Starless Night, and that was a pretty heavy hitter. That was actually right after you went on a full month of a dry spell for a cleanse. Clean yourself up.
Right.
Was it Stay Dry January or something?
Yeah, Dry
like that?
January.
Dry January. So we came and brought you a 10% full on big beer. Kind of backed it off a little bit this time. Just put the focus on the cookies. We want to put the focus on the cookies. So we brought you some big delicious cookies.
All right. What cookie are we going to be pairing first?
So I'm going to let you guys go ahead and pick, because I brought one beer, but I think this one beer can pair perfectly with any three of these cookies. So I went ahead and brought the Tagalongs, which is going to be your peanut butter and chocolate. I brought along the Samoas, which is going to be your coconut and chocolate. Right. And then I brought around the Thin Mints. And again, the name's right there. It's minty chocolate. So you guys go ahead and pick something you think you want to start with. All
right. I'll let you, ladies' choice.
I don't like peanut butter, so anything but the Tagalongs. I know it's a favorite, but I don't like peanut butter, so either one of these. Samoa. I'm thinking Samoa.
Let's
go.
Right,
yeah, we start with the Samoa.
Okay, we're going to take the Samoas out here.
Okay.
So y'all didn't see this, but she saw the Samoa. She went,
the Samoas, yeah.
Can you do me a favor, because you'll know how to do it? Can you just see how tall that mic will go?
Yeah.
And there we go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This will be good that we're having a beer with the Samoas, because I'm not the biggest fan of the coconut. I'm not the biggest fan of the coconut. Actually, fresh coconut, yes.
like Samoas.
I mean, I don't hate Samoas, but if I'm putting them in order, it's not a
racist.
I didn't say Samoans. Wait, there are some
running joke, man.
Samoas.
I think that's the tallest thing.
All right.
That's
never mind. There we go.
So anyway,
Oh, now turn it back on.
Are we on now? Are we on? Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and pair these Samoas and the beer I brought out. And so you would naturally think, okay, a chocolate coconut, kind of cookie. Oh, let's pair it with a stout, a porter, something that's also chocolatey.
Would make sense.
Right, but to me, that's kind of too overwhelming on the palate, too much chocolate. You don't really get to taste the cookie anymore. You don't really get to taste the beer anymore, because the flavors are just too on top of each other. So I went the opposite direction and found something that would be a little bit more contrasting, that when you had them individually, they would help bring out the flavors on each of them individually. So I went ahead and paired this with our sun salted session goza.
Okay.
So this is a slightly tart beer, made with fresh coriander and sea salt.
All right.
Very light, very easy drinking. Sits around 3% ABV, and you're gonna find that little bit of saltiness and tartness is gonna really help bring out the chocolate and coconut out of the cookies.
And what kind of beer did you say it was again?
It's a session style goza.
Goza. What's a goza?
A goza is it's an old style beer that was traditionally brewed with fresh sea salt, hence that getting the sea salt out of it, and coriander. I mean, it's practically a Gatorade beer because of the electrolytes you get out of this thing.
All right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pour a couple glasses here.
Beer drinker?
Yes.
Well, Well, while he's doing that, go ahead and grab the mic there, Chris. While he's pouring that stuff out there.
This is great because I'm a liquor dude. I'm not a beer dude.
I'm not.
I want to see what your reaction. Because
I really like
I feel
beer.
like I'll be like, eh.
I'm not allowed to have liquor anymore. I'm
Really?
God.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be your
yeah.
I will be your taster, baby.
And here's the thing: is I love beer. It's just that when I'm going for the liquor, it's because I want something quicker.
That's why I do liquor. I'm like, I want to.
But that's not good. That's why I want to get to the point in my life where when I'm drinking something like that, a bourbon or it's an ounce. And it takes me 15 minutes to drink it. You know what I mean? You're
why?
Because I don't want to drink
14 minutes of feeling.
Okay.
Before you go ahead and bite in to your cookie or
All right.
some of your beer, make sure you have both ready.
Okay.
So go ahead and.
Go grab the mic there, Matt.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I want to make sure we do this
You got it now?
properly. Yeah.
So now that you've got your beer and cookie, you can go ahead and
Okay.
decide whichever one you want first. Just make sure you get a true either drink or true bite first, and then follow it with the opposite.
Well, whatever you go with, I'm going with the opposite.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll take a drink first.
And then the
you take
cookie, and I'm going
first. All
cookie,
right.
then the drink.
All right.
Here we go.
Because really, the effects that either one of these are going to have on your palate, again, they're going to be directly opposite of each other.
So good.
Looking for facial reaction. Oh, that's a real. I saw that. Here we go.
I like this beer.
I see why you do it. You're exactly right. That sweetness, because for you went from the tart to the sweet.
It's so tart, yeah, and then the sweet was just perfect.
Just brings it over the top there. So there you go.
Oh, that was good.
So yeah, I mean, this is just one of the fun many ways that you can do it. And like I said, so even if we had
It's
gone
nice.
with the peanut butter, again, a little bit of saltiness and tartness, and pairing that. And again, I know you're not a peanut butter fan, Chris. You're probably
Other side of the mic.
there you go. Is that better?
Yes, sir.
So, but again, even like peanut butter. Peanuts are naturally salty, but you got the richness of the chocolate, and this kind of has that same effect on it. So now you throw a little bit of tartness. It's like I said. I mean,
really
this
good.
is a heavenly little dessert right here.
It is.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff you'll learn during beer week.
You said there's sea salt in this?
There's actually fresh sea salt from a local sea salt vendor here in the Tampa Bay area.
I like it.
What do you think, Chris?
I liked it. Thumbs up.
I think I liked when I did it your way. I think I liked taking the sip and then putting the tart and then putting the sweet
Right.
on top of it. Yeah. They're both delightful. They're both delightful.
It did make the chocolate standing. You nailed it, man.
Well, all right. Well, okay. What's next? Are we using the same beer for the next one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
We're sticking with the same beer.
I'll try it with the peanut butter.
You should
What's that?
down the beer.
All right. Grab a mic.
That's what I think. I think you should.
Now, you turn this into a drinking game now?
Well, but seriously, I think you should down the beer.
And then
First you
it.
sipped,
Crush a whole
and then
thing of
just.
cookies.
Crush the whole thing
So
of
that's perfect. You
cookies.
guys sipped and then bit. Now you're gonna chug and
So
like
I'm gonna
Neanderthals.
Wait, I'm going to do what?
Chug,
Chug.
and then slam a whole cookie in your mouth. Just,
All right.
like Cookie Monster.
I like the way you think.
I'd like to
Oh, these
see
are the
you
best.
do that right now.
Here we go. Here we go.
Slam first.
Slam the beer first. Okay. So the tart.
Because then it's gonna the tart first, and then you're gonna really bring out that chocolate.
All right. So we'll finish up this beer here.
Slam. Dun 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 dun. Ooh. No. Oh yeah.
How was that?
How much more does the peanut butter really stand out?
A lot.
Because of the slams.
And maybe even think for a second. I was like, wait a second. Does the tart go with the peanut butter? Because that tart sets something up, and then that peanut butter is such a powerful taste. But then it does come together.
See, I've never had one of these cookies before. These ones. So I'm about to try it.
Me neither. I've never had just one, if that's what you were alluding to.
Eat the whole cookie. then slam the beer, and then eat another cookie, and tell me the difference of the before and after. I have fun with it. We live in life. Let's, you know what I mean?
Oh my god. I don't even like peanut butter though.
You're not allergic to it.
No.
We're
I'm not allergic.
We're gonna
just
find the
never
only
liked
way
it.
she'll ever have peanut butter is with the
That's
beer.
what I'm saying.
Well, I need a refill, obviously.
I mean, think about it. It's like, so when I go to the movie theaters, I love having Reese's Pieces with popcorn.
All day.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's very. Yeah, people will put their M&Ms or Reese's Pieces right in it. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, makes sense. Can you do it? Fill me up. Okay.
Ooh, it does go well together though.
Look at that. We made a non-peanut butter person actually enjoy
This is
peanut
the
butter.
only time I'll eat it. I love Girl Scout cookies. I'd do anything for them.
All right, and then last up.
Mm.
By the way, if you're just tuning in, thank you. And welcome to the Wake.Show.
You're officially digging the peanut butter then, at this point.
With this.
That's awesome. See? Beer's good for you.
And I honestly, Chris, I hate peanut butter. Like, I hate it.
And I tell you, I'm not a fan of beer, but I'm feeling the beer right now. That's actually really good beer. It's kind of sweet.
It's very
Thank
nice.
you, sir.
Yeah, it's not as like some of the other ones. I cannot find my phone.
Thank you.
So the last one we're doing here is pairing with the Thin Mints. Now the Thin Mints, because it's got that strong minty flavor, is going to be totally different than the other two beers.
Okay.
To be honest, with the Thin Mint, I would probably more likely pair this with a darker beer just because the sweet mintiness sometimes needs to be mellowed out by a darker, bolder flavor.
Yeah, because I can see the tart and the mint, competing with each other here.
Exactly. So, but I thought it would be fun just because I thought the flavors, now you can see something where they're kind of competing versus where the others actually complement.
All right, so here we go. Our last pairing here, Sam.
All right.
I love the damn Thin Mint. And by the way, when you come out, I'll wait. I won't talk with my mouth full.
But yeah, by the way, if you come out tonight at 5:30, you can go ahead and pick up a couple boxes of Girl Scout cookies, and we've got over 15 beers on tap that we can assist you with selecting for the perfect beer and cookie pairing. You can also, go ahead and do the small individual 4-ounce pours. Go ahead and make up your own little flight of cookies and beer, or you just pick one delicious beer, one delicious box, and call it a night.
Where's Masters located?
So we are at 7701 Blind Pass Road on beautiful St. Pete Beach, Florida. We're on the north end of St. Pete Beach. So if you know where the Don Cesar is, we're on the entire opposite end of the beach.
Yeah, right.
So we're on that last stretch of road coming from St. Pete Beach right before you hit Treasure Island Beach. A couple popular spots that are really close to us and kind of old landmarks. Vito and Michael's Pizza Place, Tudorosa's Pizza, Nori Thai. Yeah, those places have been there for quite some time. So if you know where St. Pete Beach is in any of those spots, you'll find us.
Yeah, Chris, you guys need to get together and
You gotta play there, man.
yeah, you got to play there.
Yeah, I'm feeling it, man. I'm grab it everywhere. I just want to say, and these guys know me, like I'm big on just honesty. Like, man, you were really great representation of like masteries. You know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I mean, the passion you gave, just knowing it got me. I'm not a big beer. I was wanting to go out, man. So like, I'm down to. I'll work with you guys anytime you need a brother, man. I'm here, man. I liked it.
We do live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So let's get you out there, man.
That's why he gets open door policy too.
I like it. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Well, thanks, man. Thank you so much for swinging by and bringing us some beer. And I'm running a little low.
So tap me off.
I think I like the Samoa the best with it.
So top you off before I go.
Yes, I agree.
We all agree on that.
I agree. Yeah, that coconut, the sweetness in the coconut and the
one is
chocolate.
the best.
That was perfect with the tart.
Thank you.
And now tonight I'm gonna buy a box of Thin Mints and then start ordering some of the darker beers. There, go. Oh, I found the one. Found the one. I'm glad that we were able to turn something so innocent like Girl Scout cookies into something so adult, like drinking beer. And all thanks to Matt Dom from Masteries. Thank you, sir.
It's first for me. It's first for me.
All right. So, Sam, I want to pull up, let's see, I'm looking for Eric Stratman. All right, he is ready to go, so we're going to talk a little bit nutrition here. How much more do you have to go on social media?
I'm actually looking at some insights across the board because our numbers look pretty good for today on your personal page.
So, but you weren't able to share this onto the Wake.Show yet?
I was.
Oh, you were?
I figured it out.
Okay,
it's
good.
on the Wake.Show page, and it's also on Fish the Man.
All right, cool.
Right.
So we're going to talk a little after beer and cookies. Let's go to.
I know the irony.
Oh, this is going to be great. Matt, thank you so much, man. I'll see you in a couple of hours.
Yeah, thank you.
We got a trivia every single. Oh, he's leaving. He's leaving behind the tag-alongs. How you doing, Eric? I've got some Girl Scout cookies for you.
Excellent. Excellent.
How are you doing this morning?
Good. Yourself?
Good, man. We just had Masteries Brewing Company come by because I've got an event there on Thursday nights. And he brought in beer from his brewery to pair with Girl Scout cookies. And so you've missed a good show this morning, sir.
I peeked in a little. I saw they were talking about their brew fest and where it was going. I'm like, man, I would like it to be more like a milk fest with those cookies.
How's the craft beer phase there in your neck of the woods there in New York?
Man, they love to drink up here, dude. They drink and procreate a lot. I mean, it is so cold up here. I'm wondering why my father-in-law is one of 14 children. I'm like, man, I only had 2 kids. I'm in Florida. I'm like, we're outside enough. We're get home. We're a little too tired. We're not like, I'm looking at you for about a week on the couch. All right, you're looking good. Let's rock and roll.
Well, thank you.
Who cares?
Thank you for hopping back on with us today. Talk a little nutrition as we are not doing anything good for our bodies currently. When you like to indulge, what is it for you? You're a nutrition guy. Do you go after the sweets? Do you go after the salty stuff, the fried stuff?
Yes.
Yes. So you're a
I mean, I'm a foodie. I enjoy a good burger, great pizza, crappy pizza.
So you're
cardboard pizza.
You're a normal because
cake.
I feel like I try to set you up every week as being some superhuman being, but you're a human like everybody else. You get the
Amen, brother. And that's what I like to see. Sorry, I'm trying to get set up where I can keep this going with us. I like to be normal like everybody else. I mean, you got some of these superhuman trainers that will tell you, man, if you don't eat broccoli and you don't have kale every 4 hours and you're not drinking 5 gallons of water and you ever have a beer, you're out of your mind. Well, I live in the real world and I want to help my clients. Do the best.
Sam, turn around.
They can do, So that way it's a...
Put your hands back up there. Put your hands back up there. What great comedic timing. That was perfect. I like to live in the real world, right as he shows his fingernails.
There he is.
So
the 6-year-old daughter rocking and rolling, buddy.
I was going to say.
It's daddy-daughter time right there.
You're a good daddy.
I aim to be. I want to do whatever I can to help my little girl put a smile on her face, and it gives me a reminder of her every time I look down or somebody says something about it, so it makes us enjoy where we're at. But
it's so cool.
What we talked about is the living in the real world with men's fingernail polish. I'm sure everybody there is gonna be like, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. But you indulge, you have your beer, you have your food, you have your nights out. That's okay, because we need to manage our health and fitness around what our real life is happening. Now, is it manageable to say, well, I'm going to drink a case of beer every night, and I'm going to have, burgers and, salty hash browns 4 times a day? You could do that, but you're not managing your health. So what we want to do is put you in a position that you understand what you're putting into your body, so you're able to regulate those calories. And like we say, we have that one day a week where go bonkers, still,
go zombie,
still log it, get after it. But, and staying that consistently average is what really is important to us. So you're able to, see that you're getting the results you're looking for, but you're still managing your life as if, you're living it, not as if you're on some, 2-week, 6-week. That's why I'm not big on the short-term challenges. I want to see that you guys are able to do something right now to change your life, but you're going to stay on that same path for a lifetime.
So
really like these, don't you?
It's so awesome.
I'll just stay like this, like, what's up?
Well, Eric, last week I went out and trained to do a father-daughter dance, with the company that I do these through, Events Done Right, Tampa Bay LLC. And so he wanted me to come out because it's not just a father-daughter dance. It's 2 hours of just playing music and the kids and the dads dance. There's games and interaction because you want to make sure that the fathers and daughters are having a good time. And it doesn't look like a middle school dance with the kids on one side and the dads on the other. So anyway.
Right.
I was so impressed. because, you could scan the room. You see some dads that were cleaned up and ready for the night. But you saw a lot of dads, too, that came right from work. You could tell they've had a long week. It's Friday night. I'm sure they'd probably be at home right now having some wine. But they're there with their daughter and being a good dad.
Yeah.
And to watch these big macho men, a lot of them, too, in cowboy hats and boots, be so... I don't know, so gentle and loving and caring and compassionate. There was this one moment, I don't remember if I brought this up on the air, Sam, but I look over to the wall and there's a little girl, probably 7, 8 years old. She's sitting there, she's crying, and one of her friends is there helping her out. And so I'm just, I feel sad for a second, but then I chuckle for a second because I'm like, it starts so early, The drama starts so early for little girls. But then I look back over there, and there she still is, and she's got her little tissue, and her dad, who is 6'2", 250 pounds, he's got a cowboy hat on, he's got his really nice black, like those country and western shirts with the print up top, and his jeans and his boots, and he's just sitting there next to her. And if it weren't so creepy, I would have taken a picture of it because it was just such a beautiful moment. He wasn't consoling her. He wasn't trying to make her feel better. He was just sitting there next to his daughter while she cried it out. And so,
awesome.
And so I went home to my wife and I go, we need to start this. We need to start now. We're going to start that family now.
You don't realize what it is till you have it. I remember being that guy and like, oh, what's the big deal? You have a kid. It's a life changer. You don't realize what love is until you have a child. You're like, man, holy crap! You can't love anything or be more protective of anything else than your kids. And that's something that I stress. We talk about. I stress it with my clients too. Is like, don't get overwhelmed with what you're doing with your own life. Really take time out to spend time with your kids and be the best parent you feel you can be, but at the same time take time out for yourself because you want to be the best parent for them, because your health and fitness is going to keep your stress level better. It's going to keep your health better, and at the end of the day you become a better parent for them overall.
And it's moments like these too that help me in interacting with you or someone like you, because people like you I put into a category of like perfection, right? They're always on their game, they've got it, they're disciplined, they're this and this, they're always so serious about their working out. And then we get on with you and you're either putting on some superhero mask or you got your fingernails painted, and it reminds me that you don't have to be perfect, and you say this every single week.
Not at all.
Nope. And so I love these moments.
That's awesome, man. I love it too. And and we, I love to see where you're going and how you're that you're staying that consistently average. Which, let's talk about that. We've been really looking at doing the intermittent fasting. How's that going for you? Breakfast.
Going
or lack thereof.
I did about as well this past week as I did the week before, and that was about 3 days of not having my first meal until late morning, 11 o'clock, right before we went on the air here. So we're getting there, slowly but surely.
Nice.
But surely. But I'm still getting up at 6 o'clock or 6:15 in the morning, or by 7 with my wife, and that is helping. So
nice. Staying a little active, getting a little activity in there, a couple jumping jacks.
This week.
Walking the dogs.
Starting today. Walking the dogs. But
there you go. There's your exercise.
Slowly but surely. There was one more thing, and hold on, don't go anywhere. So at this stage of the game for you, because you talk about logging in your food, all of your clients, you have, what's the name of the app? MyFitnessPal.
MyFitnessPal, yep.
MyFitnessPal, and you have people tracking their stuff. So do you do that yourself, or is it a system for you now? You don't have to load in your food. You know exactly what you're doing every day.
I still do it.
Okay.
it keeps me on point, and I mean, I know I'm pretty. If I miss a day and I ate consistently, great. But when it's nights like yesterday, and my wife brings me home from Jimmy John's the gargantuan sub, and I know that has 1,100 calories.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna pump that thing in there because I'm eating the chocolate chip cookie behind it. But then I'm still, I only exceeded my calories by a couple hundred. But knowing that I was gonna come home to that, I managed my calories throughout the day to expect that. So like we talked about, like the nights you have gigs, you're gonna if a couple beers or a couple Diet Cokes or whatever you're gonna have. Excellent. Log that ahead of time, and then that way it's able to manage it. It's not like you've exceeded you have 100 calories left, and now you're going out to happy hour to have 9 drinks, and you're gonna go, oh man, this is really gonna put me over. So what I really like about it, it's not to be that OCD person that has every single thing in. Sip it down, the bubbly yumminess. Is that 0-calorie ginger ale?
I believe so. I believe that's exactly what it is.
That's awesome. Just log it. I don't care.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, it's really just to keep keep the perspective of what you're having every single day, and if you're generally doing it, like I said, it's that consistently average. You're within your calorie count. You're within your macro count. I'm okay with it. Let's make sure that you guys are getting yourself in a position for success.
Track down Eric Stratman at TNL Nutrition Coaching on Facebook. TNL, the next level, TNL Nutrition Coaching. And we'll talk to you next week.
Well, I'll give you that.
All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Hey,
Whoops. I accidentally hung up on him. I feel bad. All right. So now we've got our nutrition talk in. And we'll come back to stuff you should know. How's everybody doing, by the way? Oh, shoot. This wasn't even scrolling up. Okay. I like how there's personal messages on here for us as well. Make sure you guys use the side door because
I saw. I let them know.
And by the way,
Cords knows.
don't nobody text me because I have I didn't bring my phone. I forgot my phone today. So let's get back.
I want Cords to come up here and test some beer.
Get him a little bit loopy. No, we need one. We need somebody.
Cords is always on it.
Yeah. Let's get back to stuff you should know then. And for those of you that are just tuning in, thank you so much. If you're like, why are you doing the show on your personal page? Well, we've been tinkering around with this show called the Wake.Show for the past 4 months. And we've got it about where we want it and ready to take it to the next level. So it's time to build an audience and get feedback from you guys. And then the way that Facebook does their algorithms, you don't get as much love anymore. You don't get any juice from Facebook on these professional pages like they once did. So we're starting here. And if I can't get my friends and family if I can't entertain my friends and family, then I ain't entertaining anybody. So we'll start here. What I'd like you to do is go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/thewake.show, or right there in the search bar, you can just put in the Wake.Show. And make sure you put the little period between Wake and Show, and no spaces, the Wake.Show. That's us. And follow. A like is great, but following, you can keep up with us. If you just like this page, then nothing's going to happen. You will never know when we go live or anything like that, where if you do follow us when we go live, and that's all. I mean, listen, man, I'm not trying to, cram this down your throat or anything. I only want you to do it if you enjoy it or if this is something you want to pop up every day. Okay, well, Fish will tell us a little bit more about what you do. I will. We go over this. So we start, in theory, about 11:11 every Monday through Friday. And we have some cool guests come through, like you saw, Matt Dom earlier. Chris McCarty coming up here in a second. We'll be back on the show. And then we go over the stuff of the day, the issues of not really the things people will be talking about. But our angle is we're going to do it without, or trying to do it without getting too upset or depressed, too angry or depressed. And this is something I started with my good friend Kurt Schreiner when he and I first started we did a show together for some time, and that was our approach, and I like that. Then other than that, we'll just and so at the end we'll remind ourselves at the end of the show that also that we have very little control over the news of the day, over a lot of things. Take a deep breath, commune with whatever it is you believe in, and move on with our day. Simple as that. So let's get to stuff you should know. And Sam.
Yes, sir.
All right, here. Is there anything I need to... you said you were going over some analytics. Is that stuff that you wanted to bring up on the show?
I think you hit the nail on the head as far as Facebook's algorithm goes. I don't think a lot of people understand, unless they own a business page, just how it's affected business pages such as the Wake.Show page.
All right.
Because it is technically still a business page, even though this is a show. And unfortunately, the way that Facebook is changing, and I know that Cords came on a couple months back and kind of spoke about that.
I'd understand the thing he was saying. I understand the damn thing you were saying.
Yeah, the algorithm is not really in the business page's favor anymore, unless you put some money behind it. And there's a bunch of other things to go into. But the main takeaway is, follow the page. Please engage with us, and that'll definitely help.
All right. And Chris McCarty.
Yo.
How you doing, buddy? Hi. Bring it back into the show. You ready for a little stuff you should know?
Always ready.
Go through some of the news of the day. Let's start with this couple here that renewed their vows. You and I have been talking about love recently, so this is right up our alley. This wasn't your average marriage rededication ceremony. Hundreds of parishioners gathered at a Pennsylvania church Wednesday to exchange or renew their wedding vows, some clutching unloaded AR-15s. Where'd that picture? The picture. I hate that they do that now. This is one of the things that annoys me about what's going on the internet. And that is you pull up a story, right? And then, but after it runs through that story, it starts playing you other videos that have nothing to do with that story. Right. And you're like, come on, man. Stop doing that.
Distractions.
Stop cramming your content down my throat.
Right? kind of like we're doing.
Shh. There's no hypocrisy here. None. So the event was led by Pastor Young Yin Moon at the controversial Sanctuary Church in Newfoundland. Guns were zip-tied at the door, and ammunition was not allowed in the church. And so this is the same. I guess this was the same story we were talking about last week, Sam, or earlier in the. No, go ahead and eat. You don't have. Just go ahead. Take your bite.
I think it's messed up, but she's hogging all of the cookies.
I know, when you were in your interview, I slid over and grabbed these.
I'm trying to pay attention to you, but I keep looking at the cookies.
So anyway, I wish there's one of the pictures. There's one of the pictures right there. There you go. So this was people renewing their vows, and I guess his thought behind this is, or his anger, his passion comes with feeling like the government or people are getting ready to take away a family's God-given right to protect themselves. A man and a woman's right to protect their family and their property. And this is the this is the fear that a lot of gun people have. And by the way, I'm not making this stuff up. This is coming right from whatever that idiot's. I'm sorry, that guy's name. I didn't mean to be negative. It's the beer.
No, I think that's awesome. You caught yourself. That's just road to mastery.
Pierre St. Pierre, is that his name? The guy that runs the NRA. And he was talking, and then it made sense to me too, because I'm not a gun guy. I don't care one way or another, but it does. But I got to be honest, it does bother me. Sometimes I do feel like the gun culture here in America does get a little unnerving to me for somebody like me. But hey, this is where we are. It's in the Constitution, Second Amendment. I get it, and
I don't own a gun either, brother. Just like you.
Yeah. But what he said, he was talking about how, and this is when it made sense to me and why so many people are so passionate, because they tie the gun issue is directly tied to their personal freedom and their personal rights. Mm-hmm. I guess for a lot of people, it's that last line of defense, or first line, I don't know how you look at it, of if the government comes and tries to say I have to pray to a different God than I want to, or anything, or I have to raise my children different. F you, this is America. I've got my little piece of land. I've got my gun. Stand back. But at the same time, I do understand the people on the other side of that coin too, and going, hey, listen, man, this isn't the Wild West. It's 2018. Let's start rounding up these guns and have some peace in the world. But
that's my vote. I get it. I can understand people being like, well, you can't beat them, join them, or I get it. I just wish there were zero. I mean, it'd be great if there were no more guns. What?
That would be cool. That would be,
awesome.
but that's not where we are right
What's
now.
gonna happen, dude?
Like in my fantasy world, it's somewhere down the lines. I do think that the Second Amendment will be amended eventually. I don't think it's any time in our anybody's lifetime that's living right now, but I do think there will be a time when there will be a much more of a calm. I could be wrong though.
No, I agree.
All right, Trump to lawmakers. Get it done. Stop worrying about the NRA. Did any of you watch any of this yesterday or see any of the clips of this meeting? There was a session on Capitol Hill yesterday, and it was very interesting. I didn't see the whole thing. I only saw some clips, but it was interesting to watch the president, Donald Trump, not be, he went after the NRA. He said, some of you are quote unquote, some of you are petrified. He pointed, to the Republicans, said some of you are petrified of the NRA. He told a bipartisan group of lawmakers yesterday afternoon as he tried to negotiate a framework of legislation reacting to the Parkland and other mass shootings. But as Trump sought to corral different ideas and ideology, he also strained reality by calling for a sweeping bill. This is coming from TampaBay.com. I like the word comprehensive, he said, suggesting reaching 60 votes in the Senate should not be difficult. So I told you at the beginning of the show that I had a little bit of theory on why he was saying some of the things he was saying, because he said he doesn't have to listen to the NRA. Although in that moment, if you were watching the video, you see how he kind of turned down and looked away. There was a little tell, as a poker player, that he didn't necessarily believe what he was saying in that moment. He does realize how much the NRA how much he owes the NRA. So, but he was pointing at other, Republicans and saying, you guys are afraid of the NRA. That's your problem. You're afraid. So I think because of his personality, and he does not like to kowtow to anybody, I think that he was using that moment was to say, hey, even the NRA, I'm not going to just, toe party lines just to toe party lines. This is a moment where I can show that I don't care about the NRA, and I'm going to do that right now. But and if you guys saw any of the reports that came out of the news reports on the possible effects of this particular session and what it could mean, don't read too much into it. My friends, there's some friends that were getting excited about the possibility of some serious gun control reform, based on what he was saying. Listen, we'll see. Our presidents and all politicians are known to say a lot of things.
Yeah, dude, don't believe what you hear, man. People's words. Words are. Ugh. How many times you've been lied to in life from our politicians? Don't believe them.
Yeah, and on that note as well, Walmart's raising the age restriction to buy firearms and ammunition to 21 years old. This is one of those things that I think you're going to see what you're already seeing a lot of. Is it going to solve any problems? I don't think so at all. But for for Americans who are going, hey, we got to do something. We talked about this already, that this might be one of those things that you serve up. It'll make people feel a little bit better. Like, and then when you talk about stuff like that, you'll have a lot of times people in a certain, with a certain ideological bent. They'll say, well, that's your problem. You will take a solution just because of the way it feels, not because it'll actually do something. Sometimes that's what is needed, because we can put together a comprehensive solution like you're talking about. It's still not going to solve everything. So, but a lot of Americans are feeling like the NRA specifically has way too much control over politicians, and so I think part of this is a pushback. And, on that as well. I'm not going to use the phrase nobody's trying to get rid of people's guns, because, of course, there are people out there trying to get rid of people's guns. I don't think you're going to see a big push for it anyway. All right. Next up, I want to make sure that I got all the, on this subject, I just want to get all of these in this category together and over with. And that is an armed teacher. A story about an armed teacher. We've heard a lot about that recently. So here we go.
I need a cookie.
Which
Just
one?
throw me a Samoa. Just throw me a Samoa. Thanks. I need this. So now you can go on about this horrible comfort food. Thank you.
Sam, I need a cookie too.
Okay, open your mouth. I'll throw it in.
Give me that damn Samoa. Samoa. Police say they don't know why a popular Georgia teacher fired a handgun inside his classroom. Shouldn't be laughing because obviously there's going to be some mental situation going on here in the end, causing a chaotic lockdown and evacuation of his high school, but it immediately pierced the national debate over whether educators should be armed. It's a great story or a great thing to happen at this time. Why do you say that, Fish? The guy fired a weapon. Why would you say this is a great thing to happen? No, because we there's a lot of things that need to be talked about every single time we bring up this subject, and mental health is one of them. So before we just start going, hey, everybody, go get your CWP and you can carry a firearm to school, we got to make sure that people like that are not carrying guns onto school grounds. And then I think that is it.
That's horrific.
For what?
Just, there was someone who I guess was in the classroom when it happened and had tweeted about it on that story. And she was saying that was her favorite teacher, but they all had to leave in the rain and everyone was screaming and stuff. And she's like, this is why we shouldn't do this. And that was her favorite teacher, this individual. So that's just crazy to see.
Absolutely. Madness.
Well, good thing we have comfort food.
I was thinking the same thing, man. It's so much easier to take when you're eating the Samoa with that coconutty chocolate.
All right. So, big question now. Big question. If
she's hot.
Okay. And there's a sex tape with her floating around, sex video. Do you want to go look her up?
What's her name?
So this woman here is suing T-Mobile because she took her phone in to get worked on. The guy takes a little too long in the back. A day later, she realizes that an email has been sent from her account that she doesn't recognize the address.
Oh my God!
Where it was sent, and there's an attachment. And as soon as she sees the attachment, she gets sick. She knows exactly what's happened. She says, "My heart dropped." It was a video she kept on her phone of her engaging in sex acts with someone in bed. Parts of her face were visible in some of the frames, she said. The recipient email address looked familiar enough to her to realize who had sent it. Roberto Aramis Sanchez Ramos, the employee at the T-Mobile store, 9666th Street North in Pinellas Park.
Roberto.
Oh, this isn't the first time they cite a couple. You know, we've
they
had
gotta
a couple
know
of
that
stories.
everyone's going to write at your photos, man. They got to know that.
Well, so that's the question there, because as soon as she, starts talking about the victim shaming comes. Well, you shouldn't have had that. What are you doing with that on your phone? If you got that on the phone, somebody
I'm not
gets
saying
it.
that. I'm saying just have an idea that these people are probably going to look. It's probably happened before, and now the brand's like just curious, like. I don't know. I'm just saying, man.
Well, this guy shouldn't even been working for T-Mobile in this capacity. He was arrested in 2013 for grand theft charge after he stole 2 iPads from a Walmart in Largo while working in maintenance in the store. And then 3 years later, he pleaded guilty to scheming to defraud T-Mobile.
And then they hire.
Right. So then they hire this prick.
What?
That's some weird karma.
And so,
man.
so he's grabbing people's phones, going to the back, immediately going to their stuff, scrolling through, going, that phone. Let me send it to myself at home.
Oh, that's so gross, man.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name.
It's Robert Paulson. I'm sorry.
Roberto Aramis Sanchez Ramos.
They should see. The thing is, I don't you feel like they should put pictures of the dude up there, like everybody see who it is, like stay away from this dude.
Yeah, well, or her, or you put that picture up. So what I mean, I wasn't talking about you victim shaming, but immediately people started victim shaming.
Absolutely. That's
So
what we do.
it's on you. You shouldn't. If you're gonna have that stuff on your phone, at least take it off your damn phone before you go into the T-Mobile.
But you know
dealership.
what? All that is just a natural response to your brain, just kind of being like, well, the opposite. How do you avoid that pain? And that we just go, well, that's what it is. It's not so much victim shaming. It's just the brain naturally, like a computer. Once you know this, the opposite exists at the same time. You know what I mean? It's not always victim shaming.
Sounded like you were getting into quantum physics there.
A little bit.
Something exists and doesn't exist at the same
At
time.
the same time.
But here's the curious thing, because I went through this story because this is what I wanted to know, is what you get out of this if you sue, because there has been cases of this in the past, but I don't get any answers out of it on what is the possible. Like, is this person going to get $100,000 out of T-Mobile? Is this something that goes into the $1 million range? if you end up, forwarding around the internet a private video that you stole off my phone.
She's gonna get at least 6 digits, and probably never have to pay for a phone bill ever again.
And probably an offer to do porn,
and then she's gonna be famous because she's a cutie.
Don't forget that, ladies. If you're ever having issues making money, you can always go into porn for a few years.
Kim Kardashian, who you all love so much.
Who?
Not you. A lot of ladies love her. That's why we know who she is. Like that sex tape, remember?
Should non-smokers get extra vacation time? Should non-smokers get extra vacation time?
Yes.
You think?
Yes.
Okay. Coming from WFLA.com, the big water cooler topic today. Should non-smokers get an extra vacation day to equal time smokers take during the workday for cigarette breaks? Many workers say they should. A new survey by e-cigarette found a whopping 42% of non-smokers like this policy as well. Of course.
Yeah, that's your day.
Yeah.
Why only 42? That's weird.
I got a scientific poll for the room. Who in the room would like an extra vacation day? Well,
yeah, but that means that 58% of people said no.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, no. Although I don't like this. Because I don't like the logic behind it. See, the logic is coming from the non-smoker. And by the way, I am passionately a non-smoker. Vehemently. Abhor smoking. They look at this the wrong way. They're looking at this as the time that those smokers are going downstairs, the 5 minutes to 10 minutes, three times a day. That's vacation time they're spending down there. And that adds up over time. The way I see it is those are times that they're getting their mind right. And I hate smoking, but there's an anxiety that drives smoking. So it calms that anxiety. They go back upstairs and get back to work. For some of you, you go have a coffee instead, or you go walk around the building. So if you want that extra time, you can have that extra time at work, and you can walk around the building for 10 minutes versus smoking for 10 minutes. Because they're not taking time off. They're resetting and getting back upstairs.
You know, it's funny, and it's in anything in life, you really can debate both sides of the coin because there's no wrong. It just is. You know, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, there's an aspect of, who knows what these people have seen and gone through, that why they feel the need to smoke. Like, who knows what anxieties they deal with, what, stress, who knows? And the other side of it is like, but what if they just made some choices growing up that kind of have them smoking now that, other people didn't do? So, I mean, I can see both sides of the coin, man. But I think you're right. At the end of the day, leave people alone, man.
Elliot from the Facebook page says, unless you work nonstop from the second you sit down to the second you leave, then shut up and stop shaming the smokers. And I hate it. I hate the smoking, but I also want to be intellectually honest.
I actually do that. I actually do go to work and I set up and I play 4 hours straight. Don't even take a break. And then get up and leave. Bye, Sam. And get up and leave.
Hop in over here.
So I can't say something about smokers.
Well, I mean, you're not working 8 hours straight.
No, but I mean, I'm physically sweaty.
I know.
How many people do like physical labor for 4 hours, like nonstop? La 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 la. Like,
I know.
So, but I'll say this though, but I understand, man. At the end of the day,
but
if
how
you're
many
not
drinks?
A smoker, but if you're
how
not
many
a smoker,
drinks will you have in that 4 hours?
Maybe 2.
So to me, that's the same. They're doing the same thing as what the smoking does, right? You're bringing
but
your
the
nerves
truth is,
down.
but I don't need to drink. I'm not saying they don't need to smoke, because if you're addicted, you're addicted.
Right.
I understand addiction.
Right.
We talked about me being addicted to the pills at one time, so
yeah.
I'm empathetic. I can understand both sides. It's one of those things where it's like, dude, there's no right, no wrong, so just leave it alone. Right. Leave people alone, man.
So we'll see. We'll see here
Cool.
on whether or not smokers will get their extra day. I don't think they will. Also, Elliot has a great piece of advice for those of you that don't want your sex video to end up in the private collection of a T-Mobile employee. Keep yours on Betamax like he does. That way, nobody will be keep your sex tapes on Betamax. Elliot, you're one of my.
I like him. He's good.
My favorite producers I've ever had. You have any tattoos?
Me?
Yeah.
Nope. I'm an extremist. I felt if I got one tattoo, I look like Lil Wayne after a couple years.
That's how I felt. I could be wrong, but no. Do you have any tattoo? Oh yeah, of course. You have on your leg and
You got that one.
the grenade
And one up here. Nothing on my leg yet.
You're right. Oh, okay.
So we're going to come back to a story here in a second about the history of tattooing has been rewritten after we found a figurative inking, meaning because the oldest one we had, before this one was 4,000 years old, but it was geometric, like shape. This was actual art, a picture, 5,000 years old. We'll talk about that here in a second. But even older, right here in the state of Florida, ladies and gentlemen, an unprecedented 7,000-year-old Native American burial site found near Venice, Florida. And it's right offshore, going back 7,000 years to 5,000 BC. The Florida Secretary of State, Ken Detzner, announced the archaeological investigation found a 7,000-year-old Native American ancestral burial site in the Gulf of Mexico near Venice, Florida. Quote, the Florida Department of State takes our responsibility for the preservation, respectful treatment, and security of this rare and unique site very seriously. Our dedicated team of underwater archaeologists has done an incredible job of. Anyway, I mean, this is really, really cool. It's all the crappy stories that come out of Florida. Well, here's a cool one that comes out of Florida. We just found a burial site that is 7,000 years old. They say it's so well preserved in the Gulf of Mexico that it is awe-inspiring. Quote, we are truly humbled by this experience. It is important to remember that this is a burial site and must be treated with the utmost respect. What do you think about that? Humans 7,000 years later are doing what they can, or at least are going to attempt to preserve and respect that this was an ancient burial site. Instead of going, oh, well, who cares? It's 7,000 years old. Let's just get all the bones out of here and see what happens.
I love that you asked that because that's exactly where my brain went. I looked at that and I'm like, all right, so, we've had this conversation about like the afterlife, God, so on and so forth. It's just very interesting to me that not talking about God, just life, the respect. There's something that we all inherently respect about that. To even mention it, hey, we know this is respectful, and I mean, it's just, that's what I think about. I think there really is something out afterwards. I believe it. I've always believed that.
Does the where they end up afterwards, is that affected by somebody messing around with a burial site?
Where they end up afterwards? I would say that it could affect the person messing with it. And in the level of, as I'm showing respect, there's a respect. There's a reason we all know respect. I would think that the person in the afterlife, they're no longer in that body, as that shell. So I think they're kind of like in the all.
All right.
So I don't necessarily believe that it would really truly affect. I think it's something. There's a before, the after, the in. When you're in, we put the, and at that point laid to rest. If someone goes through, I think they're kind of already gone.
All right. All right, so let's come back to this tattoo thing, and then we'll wrap up the show today with cloning your dog. And not whether or not you would do it, because I have a feeling that if you're a pet nut like me, if you're a dog nut like me, and you had the 50K floating around, most people would be very curious and see what would happen. The reason that I want to bring up this story it has nothing to do with, because Barbra Streisand's in the story. It's... It is because I was curious on just how similar the cloned dog would be in personality to the dog that you cloned. And we do get some answers there, so we'll come back to that here in a second. But right now, this is so cool. The world's earliest figurative tattoos has been discovered on a 5,000-year-old Egyptian mummy at the British Museum. This is rewriting the history of inking. The tattoos are of a wild bull and a Barbary sheep on the upper arm of a male mummy, and S-shaped motifs on the upper arm and shoulder of a female.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, the chances, that's, even though it looks like an S, it's not an S. Mm-hmm. That design, means
might mean something else.
Right, right. Snakes, so maybe it's, I don't know, 4 snakes or something, or just, or who knows? Maybe it's a blessing, as simple as just a blessing.
Who knows? Yeah. Maybe it's the amount of kids they had when they were living. Who knows? Left behind.
They were all named Sean. Sean, Stacy, Scott, and Sarah. So the researchers say that discovery transforms our understanding of how people lived during this time period. The tattoos were found on male and female Gibelline mummies. The 5,000-year-old mummy, which is naturally preserved, has been one of the star displays at the British Museum, visited by millions each year since its discovery in a cemetery over 100 years ago. Previous research revealed that the man known as Ghibeline Man A died a violent death between the ages of 18 to 21. There is a literal stab wound in his back. Look at that. You can see it. He was literally stabbed in the back. Infrared technology has now revealed that the smudges wear tattoos of two slightly overlapping horned animals, well known in pre-dynastic Egyptian art. His remains were preserved naturally, perhaps because he was buried in the peak of summer or was in a shallow grave. We're very confident that this tattooing, it is a tattooing. It is not painted or decorated. It would have been carried out with some type of needle made from bone or copper. These tattoos push back evidence of tattooing by 1,000 years. 1,000 years. It is likely the man wore the designs as symbolic displays of his strength and virility. Throughout much of the ancient world, both bulls and goats were associated with male power.
What if one of those four S's stand for like a bull and he's killed 4 bulls? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Stuff, right?
The S's were on the female, though. The S's were on the female. Throughout
Never mind.
the more abstract, well, let's see if we get to it. More abstract S-shaped motifs were also identified in the upper arm and shoulder of the mysterious female mummy, who may have been a person of importance. They say the designs are under the skin, and the pigment is probably soot. They could be crooked staves or throw sticks, batons or clappers used in ritual dance. The oldest known tattoos in the world were discovered on Otzi the Iceman, dating from around the same time, but they were purely geometric. It is quite a departure to see people putting images on their body, and that will have resonance with people today. Incredibly, at over 5,000 years of age, they push back the evidence for tattooing in Africa by 1,000 years. I love these kinds of discoveries. You know, when we think we know something, you think there's an animal that's extinct or something like that, and all of a sudden you find it floating around the Pacific. I love that. Love it.
Me too.
All right, which brings us to the story, my last story of the day. So it starts with, I don't care about this part. It's just going to lead into what I really want, and that is Barbra Streisand cloned her dog. For $50,000, you can do the same thing. So, Miss Violet and Miss Scarlet have different personalities, says Miss Streisand. She told Variety. I'm waiting for them to get older so I can see if they have her brown eyes and her seriousness. So, then they come down here and go, we can clone dogs? Since when? Even if would you clone an animal if you could? Have you ever been that close to an animal?
Yes.
A pet?
Absolutely.
Going back to your childhood, something recently?
I lost a cat of 16 years. His name was Gohan.
Aww.
He was, I had him when I was 20 and he died like 16 years later. Yeah, it was rough, man. Like I had to put him down. Like, yeah, all
right, so the answer, if you had $50K lying around, you would...
I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth.
All right.
So I love this cat so much. There are other people who felt really close to spirits. I've never been so close to another spirit. Like, I saw him every day. He didn't care that I was Chris McCarty. It was like my constant, out of all the people coming and going. That was the constant I had. So he passed away. I still have some of his fur, with the idea that who knows, in 15 years we might be like, hey, boom, and bring him back. It'll be great.
Well, you can do it now if you got $50,000.
Which is why I'm saying in a couple of years. I'm not saying I ain't got it. I'm just saying I got other things to pay for. No, I'm playing. But for real, no, I do have, because absolutely, man, it was the greatest cat alive, man. Would you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Roxy and Joe, you better believe it. And out of curiosity, it'd be out of curiosity too, because I have a feeling that it would not be the same dog. You would not see the things there. You'd probably be some things you're like, oh, that's so Roxy, but there'd be other things like that is not Roxy at all. Because I don't think whatever when you're born, you don't stay the same. You start to change immediately. And there's even research where our genetics change like 8, 10, even up to 20% of our genetic coding changes throughout our
7 years
or throughout our lifetime.
Yes, they say every 7 years your body regenerates new cells.
All right, but I'm talking about your basic genetic DNA coding. Like what makes you.
Is it every 20 years?
No, it's constant. It's
you mean
constantly
like-
changing.
Oh.
Now, most of it, you're like, well,
Well, that could be evolution to some degree.
It is
you
evolution.
know,
Yeah, it is
right.
evolution.
So I get that.
And, but it's not usually the important DNA. You know, it's what I can't remember the junk DNA they call it. That changes.
But you know what's really cool? You said that about. I remember imagining in the future having a life where there was like no guns, right? So that some way that there could be some kind of level of evolution. So imagine if you're saying that we're constantly changing and we're getting better. I know I'm getting better, and you're getting better, and everyone's, you know, becoming more efficient, knowing self more, and so on and so forth. Like, what if that is the evolution? What if, you know, at some point we do kind of wake up, and because I wasn't always the way I am, but I think I'm a pretty good dude. Like, I don't want anything bad with people. I want everyone to be all right. Like, you know, so it kind of makes you wonder. Maybe that's what's happening on the inside.
Yeah, you're constantly changing.
Hey, yeah, change is good, dude.
Evolution in motion.
Yep.
So, we've been cloning shit since 1996. Dolly the sheep was born in 1996. Since then, researchers have cloned about 24 other animals or mammal species, including cattle, deer, horses, rabbits, cats, rats, and yes, dogs. South Korea, of course, it was Korea. So, just kidding.
Oh my God!
It's too late. I put it out there. I'm sorry.
He's just saying that the Koreans was ahead of the game.
I was being culturally insensitive.
No, he was not being insensitive. You were giving respect to the Koreans for their diligence and their.
I was getting ready to make a joke.
I know, and I'm just trying to save you right now. But go ahead.
Thanks, you're a good friend.
Oh my God.
South Korean researchers announced that they had cloned a dog for the first time in 2005, and it was delicious. See, I couldn't.
What is wrong with you?
There's something wrong with me.
I love it.
Hi, Deidre. Hi, Uncle John.
Funky Kobe Deidre. What up, Sky? Hi, Mama.
With the help of a yellow Labrador retriever who served as the surrogate mother, a cloned male Afghan hound named Snuppy was born. Snuppy, of course, stood for Seoul National University Puppy. By 2008, a California company had partnered with a South Korean laboratory and made plans to auction off chances to clone 5 dogs. Later that year, the New York Times reported the first 3 puppies from the group had been born. In 2015, from Business Insider and NPR, detailed the work of a lab in South Korea and said the lab on its own had cloned more than 600 dogs. So, both articles say that they charged $100,000 to attempt the process. My goodness. There's a company in Texas, however, Viagen Pets, says it charges $50,000 for cloning or $1,600 to merely preserve your pet's genes. So you take that hair, that cat hair you were talking about, they'll hold on to it for $1,600. So there we go. Reports and information on Viagen's website suggesting that cloning process, specifically a dog's pregnancy, usually takes about 60 days. It's not clear who Miss Streisand used, but will the dog actually be similar? Where the dogs be? Here we go. That depends. According to SOAM, it told the Business Insider that it can clone any dog regardless of age, size, or breed. NPR, though, reported that cloned animals aren't exact replicas of the original dog. Researchers at the South Korean lab told the station that the dogs it had cloned have been healthy and had almost always looked and acted like the dog they were cloned from. Quote, cats and dogs delivered by cloning have the same genes as their donor pets and will be the closest match possible to the donor. This is best described as identical twins born at a later date. But as soon as you put them, as soon as they're born, they start to adapt to their environment. So they will not necessarily have the exact same personality as your dog.
That's like if you grew up in Gainesville and I grew up in Ocoee, we'd be different people.
Well, even if we were twins, if you and I were twins and raised in the same household, in the same family, and the same rules, there'd be a lot of similarities, but there'd still be some differences.
Exactly.
But if you and I were raised in different towns, there'd even be more
different. Yeah.
But this does affect them at the genetic level as well. The environment does interact with genetics to that, just like I just said. See, I'm smart.
You're very smart. See, I was thinking, man, like even about that, like, you know, souls and things like that. They talk about souls, like, and they talk about, like, you know, Dalai Lama was talking about how every animal has a soul, and you know, see, when you're talking about cloning, you're like, I don't know how that would, you know, like you said, it'd be different. Like, soul just took off. It's not gonna be like, wait, they're cloning me. I gotta be like, come right back. I don't think it would be like that. You know
no, you're right. You're right. It's not the same
like,
soul.
No, like, what if that soul already reincarnated? Like, son, I'm already back. What are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
The environment does interact with genetics to impact many traits such as personality and behavior, according to the article. And there you go. That's stuff you should know for today. That's the Wake.Show today. I know there was some serious, more newsy stuff that we didn't hit on, like Hope Hicks resigning.
But it's Thursday. It's all right.
That's all right.
Tomorrow's gonna be fun.
It's all right. But at least we got to the father-daughter incest charge. At least we got to that story.
Fathers, be good to your daughter,
But not that good.
But not that. That's not even.
That's not yet. I take back that lyric. All right, sir. So anything before we head out of here today, Chris?
Yeah, man. We're gonna say some good positive stuff as we talked about doing this. We're saying positive things on the way out. I think we were talking about with Matt a little bit. I would say this, man, when it comes to life. Oh, that's right. You mentioned Trump. And I had a friend, Sky, who's actually watching. Thank you, Sky, for watching. She mentioned this the other day. She was like, she appreciated the fact that I don't really talk about Trump and badmouth things and that. And she also said, it's like, you put one foot forward and you really just pay attention to today and what you can do. And I really appreciated that to her. And so I'll pass it on to everyone else, man. Like, you have a job within yourself, whatever you do in the day. And if you just not worry, but if you just concentrate on doing what you think is the right thing, man, morally the right thing in that situation, it's the best you can do. So try not to worry about, politics or things that you not necessarily can control. Worry about what you can do, because you doing the right thing, whether it's just opening the door for someone, smiling at someone, just being positive influences someone, it does change the world. It does create the ripple effect, and all the little cliches that we've all heard in time, they're all true. So just remember that, man, and I think that's a really good way of finding happiness, because at the end of the day, man, your happiness is paramount. Mm-hmm. And some of those news things that we hear and we see, they can take you down. So stay in your soul, stay with your friends, stay with your loved ones, stay around kids, your kids, and be cool, man. That's all I can say. That's my thing.
Anything, Joey, before we go today?
Lick, lick, lick.
Lick, lick, lick.
All I want is kisses. It's time for me to poop.
We appreciate Masteries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt from Masteries, for coming by today. Sam, thank you so much for everything you do. Chris, everything you do, sir.
My guy.
And we will see you guys tomorrow morning about 11-ish. 11:11.
11:11. Call God. Hey!
It's the Wake.Show.